Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and I had some questions. I want to follow up on this fabulous study that you do for the Southeast Produce Council, the What's New for the Southern Innovations. Now that I've had a couple of weeks to think about it, there are a couple of things. First of all, tell me about this study and what you do to get ready and prepare, and what kind of questions you're asking for this.
Yeah, so you're talking about the What's New study that we launched at the fall event from the Southeast Produce Council, Southern Innovations. And that innovations piece is really central to why this research came about. Because of course we have in our industry many trend pieces where we look at certain data points year after year just to see how they develop. But sometimes there's a lot of value to it, looking a little bit further down the horizon. And that's really what Southern Innovations is all about. And certainly What's New research is all about as well. So we really have a lot of fun saying, what are some of the big trends that are happening in the grocery space altogether? And what are the really big innovations within those areas specific to produce, whether that is in retail, whether that is in food service. And we get to ask a lot of really fun questions that I have not really seen anywhere else. So I thoroughly enjoyed this survey myself.
One of the slides that you paused and said everyone needs to take a picture of this slide. I'm looking at it right now. It is the overcoming the focus on price and savings. And it said there's plenty of reasons to splurge a little. And it says 14% of consumers strictly stick to a list and do not spend extra regardless. Yeah. For me, that says 86% are ready to treat themselves. Yep. So what are some of the key points that people really need to focus in on this?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time about the current environment and saying, hey, there's endless inflation. And yes, inflation is slowing down, but it still doesn't mean that we're paying what we were a couple of years ago. We're all paying between 20 and 25 and 30%, depending on the category, more than we did pre-pandemic. And then, of course, we have things like the credit card debt and the SNAP dollars coming out of many households, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't mean it's a race to the bottom. And we really have seen this constant balancing act. When do I spend a little bit more and when do I just really go ultra value? And so that particular slide that you're talking about is indeed, what are reasons to spend a little bit more, to splurge a little bit more? And so what the What's New research found really was, first of all, to do something nice for myself, just like you said, right? And there's a whole bunch on the list that I think are not surprises. If I think it's healthier, if it saves me time, if it is a special occasion. But relative to produce, the fact that the top finding was doing something nice for myself was huge to me. Because if I think about all the different departments around the store, bakery really, really talks about that, right? Where it's like, oh, every day you deserve a cupcake or a cookie, or togetherness through our pumpkin pie, and it is pumpkin pie season, etc. But when do we in produce really ever focus on that treating aspect of fruit in particular, and certainly produce snacking, and really just splurging a little bit more on an item that you love or your family loves?
Well, and the other one that I saw was replacing a restaurant meal that would have cost me more. And for me, the first thing that comes up with that is salad kits. Because salad kits are one of the fastest growing parts of the produce sales. Yeah. And there's so many of them. And, why even go out for a salad anymore when the kit has everything in it?
Absolutely. And then you see a lot of retailers, even right next to the salad kits, have pre-cooked chicken or salmon or those kinds of things, the protein that you can put right on it. And so, yeah, you're right. Certainly for the lunch occasion. And that, I think, is where we can be a lot more creative as the industry, right? Oftentimes they tend to be more like dinner size, multiple people, but certainly we still see a lot of people having lunch at home or taking lunch to the office as a way to save. And some of those smaller lunch size salads with maybe some protein on the side certainly can be a great driver of sales as well.
And you pulled some slides, some photos from stores. I mean, you see more stores than I do probably, which is, amazing, of areas where retailers are like, hey, save some money, and instead of going to a restaurant, you can get your meal here. And even in salad kits, I think that, there's a certain size that's like the standard little bag of that I'm thinking of that only has 3, maybe 4 servings in it. But those serving sizes, if you add it all together, that is a meal for a grown adult. So maybe they can suggest that, hey, this salad kit's actually a meal in itself. You could just take this bag of salad as your meal, and it's only $3.99 or $4.98 or whatever. And just the suggestive selling, I often don't see that in stores, but you have pulled some photos where it does show that, hey, why don't you try to do this?
Yeah, no, you're
what are
right
some
though.
good-
They're few and far between. In fact, one in the Midwest Fairway, they had the I believe it's Tyson that has the fully cooked chicken strips, and they had it right a whole upside down layer in the middle in between all the salad kits. So they had that sitting right there in the produce department. Publix has, of course, all the veggie sides along with their value-added meats or fully cooked meals, and also saying, hey, skip to takeout. This is a lot faster, healthier, etc. Because that's the thing. Whenever you're not fighting the consumer, consumers love produce. They think it's healthy. They think home-cooked meals are healthier and cheaper. So you're not trying to fight upstream, if you will, relative to people believing that it is cheaper. Is it really cheaper? So just sometimes pointing these things out, I think, is really important. And if you think about the popularity of the rotisserie chicken, but how often do you see retailers put the sides next to the rotisserie chicken or your salad kit kind of thing? So yeah, I think there's still a lot of opportunity to sort of leave the breadcrumbs for consumers to really put it in their mind how easy this can be.
I mean, partly because I live, like, if you go 2,000 feet that way, there's a Costco, but the rotisserie chicken plus bag of salad plus clamshell of strawberries is dinner at my house more often than I care to admit. And so that is just the no-brainer in the produce department. So to see suggestive selling where it's like, you don't have to pick up fast food. We have the fast food right here. And it's going to cost you less. So I don't know how many times you've been to fast food lately, but you're not getting out of there for less than $10 or $15 a person.
Agreed. I think the one thing where we are fighting consumers a little bit on perception is time. A lot of times people feel that when you eat out, it's less time. Now, maybe if you have Uber Eats or you have it delivered to you, you can make that argument. But I think a lot of other times when you do takeout or you go to a restaurant, you're going to spend a whole lot more time. So it's really about the effort more so than the time, I think, if you break it down. So certainly the idea of dinner on the table in 20 minutes, it's healthier, it's cheaper. I think those are all key messages to hone in on.
Well, another one of those ones that was, I think, amused everyone as we're going through this studying, and was when you pull videos of people being clueless about, the man on the street video, only it's the man in the living room not knowing what regenerative agriculture is. And where can we glean some information on that, on where this kind of messaging needs to maybe get a little boost?
Oftentimes, and this is not just a produce industry, this is meat, this is seafood. We have these terms that we get very excited about as an industry, whether that is regenerative agricultural sustainability, those, just things that in the industry make sense to us. Antioxidants is another great one. People seem to think, oh yeah, I believe that's healthy for me. Why? No idea. So regenerative agriculture, that was one of the fun questions we asked. What does that mean? And 38% of consumers guessed completely wrong. They either thought it was growing the same crop again and again and again, or it was growing GMO crops. And so if you think about what we're trying to do when we put regenerative agriculture on the package label, we're certainly not trying to signal that we're doing GMOs or monocrops.
Right.
And then, yes, the videos you referenced were all over the board. And that's the same if you ask about what is sustainable growing or anything like that. And so I think this whole idea of keep it simple, stupid, comes back again and again. When you're talking about portion sizes, whether you're talking about what is it that you're trying to say? You're trying to say, I'm taking care of the environment. I want to leave the land better than I found it. Whatever your description is, I think there's a huge argument to be made to just really talk about it in a simple way. And that's really one of the major messages that I would say came out of the What's New research, is our ability to communicate a whole lot better, and also be willing to brag a little. Oftentimes I keep hearing, well, yeah, we're all about limiting food waste, package waste, etc., but we don't want to brag about that. My counter argument to that is, well, why not? Because consumers are looking for it, clearly. And if they feel that they are part of the solution by buying from your brand or your retailer or whatever it is, you only make them feel a little bit better about their purchase. So I think this is one of those areas where you can stand out as a brand or as a retailer or as a restaurant, but you can also make the consumer feel a little bit better. And there too, it's really about using language that makes sense all the way around.
Well, and I just talked about this very thing where it's like consumers feel like it's okay to spend more on groceries. Like, I don't want to go out to the sporting goods store and buy fancy shoes, but maybe I can buy something in the grocery store. And so that feeling better about the spend, if it's sustainable, if I'm preventing food waste, if I'm doing something else, if it's got something else attached to it, you want to get in their head and make them feel good about their purchase. Because they already feel free to spend money at the grocery store. Spending money at the grocery store is something I have to do.
Yeah.
So make it into something that I want to do, and then there's 5, 6, 7 more reasons to do it, and then you don't feel like you spent money for no reason.
I think it's different math, right? Like when you're in the produce department and you're doing some of the work, that's one math. If you go to the deli prepared department, where now I'm still saving over eating out, but I'm paying a little bit more, that's just different math.
That's grocery math instead of girl math or boy math. That's grocery math. That's coming off of what's going viral on TikTok right now is girl math. And then the rebuttal is boy math, but we're going to have something new. We're going to have grocery math. Grocery math is where I don't feel bad about buying it because I got it at the grocery store and I have to buy groceries because everybody's got to eat. Grocery math.
Yeah. We got it. New term.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for now. Our meeting is going to stop. We've been talking for too long. Thanks so much, Anne-Marie. I really appreciate it. And let's dig into this more soon.
Let's do it.
And really, honestly, this is gonna cut off here in a second.